Don't date just to date. Cultivate a good group of platonic friends that you can do life with. It says, "Hello, Rob. I've seen several of your videos on YouTube. I was most impressed with the 10 reasons not to have sex before marriage. However, I wanted to get any advice or just connect with you about living as a single guy that's not having sex. I'm 46 years old. I'm a Christian, and I had never had intercourse." It's impressive. "For most folks, if they read that, they would assume that I was either very unattractive, overweight, had some major health problems, or some obvious reason that would cause me not sexing around with women. I'm 6'3", usually around 250 pounds, body build, and drive a Corvette. All the outward stuff that would attract women, which usually does. However, as a Christian, I've wanted to honor God, protect my future marriage, and not damage myself emotionally and spiritually in my dating." Smart guy. "When I came to know the Lord in college, I took relating to women very seriously. I wouldn't do certain things or spend too much time alone. I would get to know her as a friend first, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff you hear in church to do." Excuse me. Let me straighten this out. I wake up each day now with almost a bitter feeling. Where is my wife, God? I did it the way you wanted, and no one ever came along. Why, God? I sometimes get depressed, and I'm currently struggling with anger towards God. I still want to honor God, but my resolve is beginning to waver. I live by myself and often spend most of my weekends alone, hanging out in my apartment. Should I be out dating for the sake of dating, or continue to live this quote-unquote secluded lifestyle in an effort to be wise in my relationships with women? To top it all off, I have seen or heard of many single Christian women who decided to abandon Christian guys for dating non-Christian guys for the sex. Is it abnormal to stay in, or should we hang out with many women?" So that was the question I got. Wow, holy crap. I mean, first off, I got to take my hat off to this guy. 46 years old, good-looking guy, drives a Corvette, and he's never had sex. So I can't imagine. I mean, I think that I look at what I've done, and I feel I'm proud of myself. I am. I feel like I've ran a marathon or multiple marathons, an ultra distance race in many ways, but I haven't done that. 46 years old and to still be a virgin and a good looking guy. So, he's not, it's not forced celibacy, which I've heard before. This guy's made a choice to do this on his own. So first off, I take my hat off to you. You're a man of, excellent character, and not many people have ever done that. So first off, I would say that. Secondly, I understand those feelings of bitterness and anger towards God. I mean, some days I have that with God. Prayers to God are like, what the hell's going on? Like, this is cruel and unusual punishment. For those of you who don't know me, I've been abstinent 12 of the last 18 years. So I feel like, on some levels, it's not normal what I've been through. So I totally have those feelings, and I'm like, why is it taking this long? This is ridiculous. But at the end of the day, I look at this, I'm like, what's the alternative? He's asking, should he date to date? And no, I don't think you should date to date, because why? It's like, would I want to go into a restaurant and smell food and not eat it? Of course not. I don't want to go in and smell food and not eat it. I think C.S. Lewis, I remember reading Mere Christianity, and he compared people like men that go in strip clubs to people that would imagine seeing a piece of steak dangled in front of your face, but you could never eat it. We just looked at it all the time. You would think those people were weird, right? But people do that in strip clubs all the time. You see a girl dancing and you look at her and you're not going to hook up with her, or at least most of the guys there aren't, but they look at it. It's the same thing, right? And so I would say, no, don't date just to date. Cultivate a good group of platonic friends that you can do life with, which is exactly what I did, because I've been there where you're at. I did, the first 6 years I sheltered myself like he's doing. I stayed in a lot, and then I burnt out, and I went back to the bars and the clubs because I wanted to be around people. And then the last 6 years I cultivated great friendships, and it's made it a lot easier to maintain my purity, my sexual purity, my abstinence. It hasn't made it easy. It's made it easier. But it still doesn't fill that void completely, because sometimes you just want the dynamic of having somebody, having sex, having someone to lay next to and cuddle with. And And yeah, I mean, I get resentful. I was depressed last weekend. I was at a party with lots of friends, and most of the people there were in couples, and some of them there were so most of the people had kids. And here I'm like, 12 of the last 18 years I've been single, and not even, sex free, single and sex free, not even a date really. And you see people that you knew before that were single, and now they're married and they have like a kid running around. And that's the hardest thing, is because then you really realize how long it's been. But I still go back to the fact that God has a plan, and if you're single, there's a reason. You have to find it. Every adversity has a seed of an equal or greater benefit. I said that in the video recently. For me, that benefit was, I created an organization that I believe has the power to change the world, because I was dying, because I was single and I was abstinent, and I didn't have a girl. I didn't have the crutch of a female anymore, because I couldn't I couldn't mindless date anymore. So I created this thing, City Fam, and that was my pearl. That was the benefit. And I wrote a book, and now I'm working on home. So you have to find your thing. There's a benefit of you being single this long, and you have to find it. But you can't play victim. You can't say woe is me and feel sorry for yourself. You have to find it. And that's what Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, is every adversity has the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Now, I will say, you shouldn't be sitting at home alone every night by yourself either. Go out, get a social life. If you're not part of a faith community, if you say you're a Christian, you should find a good church. If you're in a church that doesn't have a good, young adults, or, whatever you would consider 46, then find another church. I mean, don't be married to one church. Don't be loyal to a church and be miserable. I go to a church in Baltimore called Epic, and it's amazing. It's not Sundays, it's life. It's community. It's 7 days a week. People are spending time with each other and there for each other. And that's what you need to do. So I would find a good faith community. Hey, look, if you want to start a City Fam, absolutely hit me up. rob@cityfam.com. You can email me. And and join the Why Waiting Works community, because I wasn't going to say this. I get so many women, they say no guys are waiting anymore. They're always complaining. It's more girls that are waiting than guys. So here, ladies, I want you to hear this. This is a 46-year-old guy that bodybuilds, that's a virgin, that drives a Corvette. Okay, so they are out there. So I don't want to hear any shit from any of you ladies trying to tell me that nobody does it anymore, because they do it. So I think it's just a cop-out on women's parts, on some women's parts, because they don't. It's the fear. It's the enemy. The enemy wants to make you afraid and say, well, there's nobody out there that does it anymore, so you'll never find a guy. So don't wait. Fear always comes from the enemy. So I encourage anybody out there, any ladies out there watching, there are guys out there, and this guy sounds like a hell of a catch. And I'm not going to mention your name, brother, but go to Why Waiting Works community. Join out there for support and conversation. And if you do meet your wife, I expect an invitation to the wedding.
Thank you so much for watching my video on YouTube. I wanted to take a moment here at the end to tell you about something that is not only important to me, it's important to the world. Recently, I wrote a book entitled Why Waiting Works: How Fast Sex Prevents Us from Finding True Love and Long-Term Happiness. It has an average 5-star review on Amazon, and it's written so practically that even readers that didn't agree with my stance on waiting have told me it caused them to reevaluate their lives. So if you or anyone you know is single, or if you or anyone you know is in a physical relationship and not married, I am imploring you to pick up a copy of my book. It literally will take you a maximum of 4 hours to read it, and has the potential to change the course of your life. It's one thing to do something that you don't completely understand. It's a whole different thing to do something when you know exactly why you're doing it. And that's what my book is really doing for people. So I just want to thank you in advance. Again, this is something that's important to me, but it's even more important for the rest of the world. And I could really use your help to get the message out. Thank you.